Alright, well here's the catch can that I ordered. It's a Vibrant 12695 and it has a drain on the bottom, and obviously it's pretty large. It's an open can, so this will be vented to atmosphere rather than choking down the intercooler. And so I did have enough room in the back here by the computer, so much so that I made a little bracket out of a piece of angle, and then I used some rib nuts through that aluminum, it'd be like the inner fender. Got that sorted there, and so that'll be mounted up. I'm actually going to put 2 rib nuts on the top, and then this little bracket piece will attach right to it. Just to show you what we're dealing with here, I got a mess on the workbench, but if you open this guy up, it has a little dipstick right there and an O-ring to seal it. And then this little bracket is clockable with these slots, so you can, obviously rotate it, but you can also completely reclock it if you want to go some different way. So I'm going to get that all put together, kind of pointed the right direction, so that my 2 AN lines can come off and go towards the engine. But yeah, it's a nice piece. That looks way sweeter than that piece of junk JLT one I had. Alright, well I'm back from my work. I took this in and did that chem film treatment again. Looks great, kind of churched it up a little bit. Now I'm going to put 2 nutserts here. That's how the catch can will actually attach. And then I already have the nutserts in the side of the fender. So let's get that done. Alright, so those nutserts are held in there nicely. And you can see the little crimp edge right there. So those aren't going to pull out. They're in there real nice. Good enough for a catch can anyway. So now I can put this bracket on the truck. Alright, so it took a couple takes. I had to kind of tweak this down and actually pound that fender down, ½ inch or whatever, so that I wouldn't clear, or I would clear the hood. And they make some like lower profile 90s, that's what I was wanting, but they just weren't in this kit, so that's okay. I can order those later and swap them out. But anyway, what I did is I dabbed a little anti-seize on there, and then here's where I suspected it would hit on the hood, and I shut the hood and no mark, so we're good. It's not going to hit, and it's fairly rigid there. Like I say, I mean, you really gotta wiggle it to get to do anything. I don't think it should clunk or vibrate or do anything like that. So now all I need to do is get the hoses routed, which there's the one fitting right there. So that's going to be kind of a tight deal whether it's going to come up or go back. I haven't really decided yet, but we're gonna have to get that sorted next. Alright, I got my first line fished through there. Goes through here, then ducks down, sweeps around the back, and gets out at the valve cover over there. You can see it pretty gently sweeping across the back, and there it is on the valve cover. The next one is gonna go in a similar path, kind of dip down underneath, and then end up at a 90 right there. And I'll show you how I cut this AN line, pretty easy. So if you're gonna make a cut right in the middle here, you just put the piece of tape there and you cut right through the middle of the tape. The tape keeps the sheathing from fraying real bad. Alright, so see how that makes just a nice clean cut? Now you can put the fittings on, and then basically right before you put the heat shrink, you could take the tape off and heat shrink it down, and it really is pretty agreeable. Okay, so there it is, fully seated. Now I'll just put a piece of heat shrink on it. Alright, so now that end is actually complete, and it still swivels, everything's good. And now I can put it on the truck. Alright, well there it is. It took kind of a lot of fiddling to get that to work right. Goes, cuts around, and ends up right here. And then all the way on the other side as well. So I think that looks pretty sanitary, not too bad as far as looks and whatnot. I'm trying to make it not look too rat's nesty, but you just kind of get that in this area. There's just so many different stock components you got to use that it's just really tough to make that work. Now I can focus on getting the battery box in there. I assume that's gonna fit. I tested it several times, but you just never know. So we're gonna have to kind of use what little bit of real estate we have here effectively. Might have to trim down the battery box a little bit. All right, so the battery tray is put back in. I had to actually cut that out a little bit right there. Give me a little more room. Let this set nice. Let this sit and hold the holes that it's meant for. I think that'll be an easier way of doing it. And the battery might rest, you know, basically right up against that, but we should be good. So let's give it a test fit. All right, so I had to do a little trimming on the side of my battery cover. This would be the far side. Trim that up a little bit so that now it fits over and everything looks pretty stock. All right, well that side of the engine is pretty well tied up now, looking good. I'm gonna try and get this air intake on here. The last hose I have to hook up is this one right here. This is my idle air control bypass. It runs around the back and ends up here at this horseshoe fitting. That's a replacement of a crossover hose that was on there originally. So I'm gonna get this throttle body on here. It's just got a gasket. This here is an LFP single blade. I don't know if this is a good one, a bad one, what it is, but it works fine, seems fine. Doesn't really have any drivability issues either. So like some people say with mono blades, it can be kind of tough drivability wise, but it seems fine. So anyway, I will reinstall that and get it set up. I do need a new throttle return spring. That one was broke. All right, well, rather than breaking down all these little individual components, you can see I got my intake elbow put on and the cold air intake. Also, if you come underneath here, you can see there's where the IAC hose reattaches. There's like a AN fitting, and then a 90 and a grommet, and that enters underneath there. And then also the plug, there's a plug underneath there, a little brass threaded plug, and that caps off what would have been this PCV vent. You know, it would have come up and it sneaks around. There's a little hose that tucks up underneath the elbow. I deleted that. Then of course I filled up my ice tank, and you know, that's pretty typical stuff right there. Just regular old water in there, and try and keep it not from getting skanky. It as it sits, it kind of gets gross. And then finally there's my catch can, fully mounted up. Everything looks good. So I do have one, I guess, negative to this is that this catch can, you know, this truck breathes enough that it does spit. It like spits out smoke out of this catch can, and you know, I didn't think of it at the time, but if the hood's down, the catch can blows all that fume and vapor up onto the cowl area right here. So I'll be sitting at a stoplight and you can see like a little plume of smoke will be like kind of rolling out from under the hood, which whatever, doesn't really bother me. But what is kind of annoying is it'll actually suck it into the cowl and pull it through into the HVAC, you know, into your air conditioner. So you do get a little scent of E85. It's not the end of the world, but it is something. All right, so I got an oil change, I got fuel filter swapped, everything's filled, coolant, the ice tank's filled with water, and everything should be ready to go. So we're gonna do like a test start here and see what all leaks, if anything, and hopefully it's good to go. Well, I took it around the block, and it was pretty alarming to drive. I haven't driven anything with really any power whatsoever for probably a year, so that was kind of shocking. But no, it was really fun, and I'm gonna probably not beat the hell out of it just yet. Kind of feel it out. You know, don't want to break anything right away here. So anyway, thanks for watching.